Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Data Standard Audio Experience. I'm here today with Martin Schmitz, the head of data science services at RapidMiner. And today we're going to be speaking about the big question of, does every product really need a data scientist? So welcome to the show, Martin. I'm excited to have you on the show and to hear more about your perspective on this.
Hi, Catherine. Great to have me here.
Yeah, and I know you're joining us from really far away today. You're from Germany, and I'm actually located in the US right now. So could you just go ahead and introduce yourself and tell the audience more about your background?
Sure, of course. Yeah, I'm Martin. I'm a data scientist. I got into the industry with what I think is one of the most common ways of how to get into the industry. I studied physics a few years ago. Then did my PhD in physics, and during my PhD, like many other particle physicists, I actually did data science, and I distinguished with classification algorithms between different particles rushing through our detector, like the normal thing you do there. And then, came into the industry, did start as a consultant at RapidMiner doing projects, and then came more into the product side of it and selling software and selling a data science product. That's kind of me in a nutshell.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. And you have a lot of experience to pull from, definitely. And what does a data science do specifically on the product side of a project when it comes to industry work?
Yeah, that experience thing is really the point here. So what I mainly do is two things. I work pre-sale and post-sale together with my team. And in post-sales, it's really you get a new client. The client has one or more projects. You want to evaluate how interesting is the project, what project to go for sometimes. Like we map these projects on feasibility and value. Then kind of being a consultant, guide them to a good approach, how to solve the use case. Do I treat this regression problem as a classification problem because that's what I'm caring for, or similar things. And doing so, I mean, I work on many different projects at the same time. I'm like not journeying through them, but talk to many clients every day and learn a lot about different projects. I personally work a lot on the manufacturing side. As you said, I'm based out of Germany and do quite some work here in Europe in the industrial sector, but then also finance and everything, which is super nice to get all these different projects and talk to so many different people. Then on the other side, I'm also doing a bit of pre-sales. There you get even more stories and ambitions and programs that you see how different companies are going going data driven. What's their plan? Do they go centralized? Do they go decentralized? Do they just run a single POC or something like that? And then there's actually a third component to it. RapidMiner is a no-code, low-code platform for data science where you can basically do everything you do otherwise in Python or in R, you can do in our platform. And of course, I, with my experience, have a lot of influence on the product side. How do you develop such a product? What is the next feature to do? And there I'm close connection to our product management team, where the question is what to do. Do we invest more into code-based data science and notebooks? Do you invest more into automated data science? What is the right architecture on that? Which is a fascinating topic for itself, a product manager for a data science product. I'm not mainly doing that, but I'm of course communicating with these folks.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely have to communicate with a lot of people as kind of the data science or the data professional within your team. When do you think it's necessary for a company to have data scientists, since that's kind of the big question today, and when is it not necessary?
For me, the very interesting part from my perspective is how much do you want to do with the SME, or what is the role of the subject matter expert in that? What is the role of the electrical engineer, the process engineer, the mechanical engineer, the fraud analyst, the medical doctor in the process of building models? You can think about, okay, I have a data science team which gets all of the data and then it builds a model, goes back to the stakeholder and says, here's the model. And I think that doesn't really work. The interesting question is, how much is the subject matter expert being involved in the whole process, or how much is he doing him or herself in this? And from the RapidMiner side, the idea is, of course, why can't the electrical engineer who designs the product also do data science? He has the background of doing that. I met a few data scientists who had civil engineering background, electrical engineering background, sometimes biology or even social sciences, and they are great data scientists. But of course, they cannot sit down for 6 months, 9 months to learn Python, Lambda function, and all the good stuff. So the interesting part is, how much SME involvement do you want to have in the process? I'm a big fan of having as much as you can do, and our platform helps you to do this. More like one step further back, it scales, of course, with how complex is the process or the thing you're working on. I worked once on a project with combustion engines, and hey, there's like 100 years of experience in combustion engines. So if you are the data scientist on this project, you first need to, I don't know, study some engineering subject or be a trainee on that, because there's already so much knowledge in there. And for me, the question is really, what is the way to integrate the SME or also the end user into the product, into the process of model building? And I think the more you can, the better. The more acceptance you have, the more you can do your feature engineering based off the knowledge which already exists. And there's so much you can learn from these people. Quite a lot of times you have people coming in saying, I come in there and I have the solution for you because I got the magic wand of data science. Then they rush in, try to solve the problem, and 2 months later they come back and say, you know, that's a hard problem. And the engineers say, guess what? We know, we tried to solve that problem for 25 years. And that should not happen. And it doesn't happen if you either, as a consultant, work very closely with the subject matter experts, or if the subject matter expert join you in doing the modeling.
Yeah, no, that's a great perspective to kind of bring up. Absolutely. And within the past couple years, data science has evolved tremendously as technology has advanced and as more companies have been using and just utilizing data science and artificial intelligence and machine learning and just all these different tools. And so, from your perspective, why do you think it's grown so much in the recent years?
I think it's value. If you look at the big companies, Facebook, Netflix, Amazon, they became the biggest companies on earth by extracting value from data and making a business model out of that. And we saw basically, I don't know, last 10 years, 12 years, something like that, how in the customer analytics space, companies got super successful in doing so. And that's huge, and that drives, of course, a lot of funding into data science, a lot of traction. Of course, there's an underlying reason for that we now have the compute capacity and the storage capacity and the algorithm, and everything comes together that you can actually do this. But in the end, you can make a lot of money from being a good data-driven organization. And that's the past. And for me, I look at that like, okay, the customer analytics markets where we analyze what every person is doing evolved and it's mature now, and you have the Amazons and stuff. What's happening with the industrial parts? There's not yet a clear winner or a clear company which has the IoT platform and everything, where data comes in and value comes out, and between there's the data scientist. So my guess is we will see a lot over the next decade in terms of evolvement of data science in industrial sector. It's a bit of a different thing. It's harder because you don't have one standardized kind of data set. Facebook can design their data set like they want it, while every machine producer does it differently and has different systems, and you need to retrofit machines and all of these kind of things. But I think since there's also a lot of value in this domain, we'll see additional growth there. It's all driven by value in the end.
No, yeah, that sounds great. And in addition to this, as everything was kind of advancing with technology, in the future, things will also be changing. And so some of the data science challenges that many are facing today might be solved easily in the next coming years. And how do you think the data science role in general will be changing in the future?
Oh, that is a good question. I think there's a lot of things around automation, so that you don't need to do many things on your own. Everything gets quicker. I remember when I first did analysis in Python, I hadn't had pandas, but only NumPy. And needed to work with the NumPy matrices, and it was a bit painful, but even better what I had before, because before I had my own data frame in C++, which I wrote on my own. So I think everything gets easier and quicker, but on the other hand, it also gets more. You need to build more models, maintain more models, DevOps, MLOps, and so on. So I think there will be more on the consultant side and more on the MLOps side. These are two big things there. And then again, I think some things never die. You need to understand your data. You need to pre-process your data. You need to know what to do with it, and this kind of making sense of data, and people call it data wrangling or data blending, or however you call it. There's like raw data coming in, and I need to prepare the data in the way that my model can understand it. That will never go away, I think. I'm strongly convinced by that, and until some genius thing will convince me otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. And just really being able to understand the complex models just as they kind of evolve throughout the years. And I wanted to say thank you so much, Martin, for joining me today on the podcast. It was so great to speak with you and just learn more about your background and the things that you're kind of working on. And at our community, we're trying to have data professionals just come together to have a place where they can network and collaborate. So is there anything that we can help you do?
For me, yes, absolutely. Collaboration is key. Every data scientist has a set of tricks and tools and things he or she learned while doing that. Just yesterday, I learned again a new trick how to normalize outlier scores of Gaussian mixture models from somebody. And for me, it's very, very hard to learn these tricks or to get this information from other experienced people. You can learn a lot about how does linear regression work, how does my backprop algorithm work, and so on. But all these, oh, look, I had this trick. I used a topic detection on my free text to design a label then for my machine learning kind of stuff. That is something which you can only learn by collaborating with other experienced data scientists or people working in the data space. And one should never underestimate that, because we every one of us has only a small fraction of the whole universe of information and tricks and ways how to treat data. And by talking to one another and sharing these tips and tricks, everybody of us can learn. I'm strongly convinced that this is important.
Yeah, no, I think that's great that you brought that up. It's important for us to all be able to really communicate with each other in just the different challenges that we might be facing, just to be able to collaborate, as you have mentioned. And where can everyone find you online to connect with you?
Sure, I'm mostly on LinkedIn. I'm Martin Schmitz or /Dr. Dr. Martin Schmitz. But then also on Twitter and Medium. And actually Martin Schmitz, I think there are at least 30 Martin Schmitzes here in Germany. Schmitz is like the German version of Smith. So I'm at @mschmitz and then an underscore after it, because my name is already used everywhere. It's not good. It's like a duplicate ID everywhere, but @mschmitz, and then I had an underscore to be unique in some way.
Yeah, perfect. And to our audience, for more information on the data standard, you can find us at www.datastandard.io, as well as on our LinkedIn and YouTube channel. And thank you so much, Martin, for joining me today. It was so great to just meet you and learn more about the things that about your perspective. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Catherine.